Hi, Jenny here from the Proven Group, and I am here with Therese Frangi, the CEO of MadMex. Thanks for joining me today, Therese.
Thanks for having me, Jenny.
You want to just tell us just very briefly about your work history?
A bit about my work history. Started on the restaurant floor when I was 15 at KFC. Worked my way up through their management program, and then I worked for brands such as it's obviously KFC, Starbucks, Oporto, and then I joined MadMex about 6.5 years ago. I came on board as the general manager of operations, and then moved into the COO shortly after. And a couple of years ago, I took on the role of integrator, where I had the opportunity to shadow Clovis Young as the founder and really commence that succession plan to become the CEO today.
What an amazing journey. It's
Thank you.
interesting because I have a 15-year-old son who has just started recently at KFC. So good to know what's to come.
Absolutely. There you go. KFC have a great management program.
Yeah,
So he's definitely working for a brand that could really support him throughout his career.
yeah, love it. Um, Teresa, can I ask you, um, the world is changing all the time. We're living in this, ever evolving landscape, and who knows what tomorrow brings. What are the important skills that you think leaders in franchising really need to be able to grow and lead into the future?
I think leaders in general, not just franchising, but some of the biggest things, and I guess COVID has showed us this, agility. Leaders need to be able to move. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Look at your results, be able to move fast and shift direction. So being agile is a really prime skill. Resilience. A big part of being agile is sometimes you need to be agile because things aren't going to go right. So you need to have the resilience to go, okay, that didn't work, dust ourselves off. What direction and what path are we going to go down? We really need to be resilient in whatever may come our way. I think agility, resilience, and empathy. Empathy is a big one. Um, Empathetic leaders don't just lead the business and the results of the business. They actually understand that the people within the business is what delivers those results. So when we lead with empathy, we consider our people. It's where we start to factor in things like diversity and what do our people need to succeed? Because if they succeed, then the business succeeds.
I absolutely love that. And I think, obviously, you know, you mentioning it means it's important to you, and that's kind of part of your leadership style. I think out there's a real lack of that empathy. So yeah, really, really interesting, insightful point you bring up. Thank you. Can I ask you, who's inspired you to be the leader that you are today? You've had an amazing journey. Share with us.
I'm very fortunate to have had a lot of mentors and coaches and people who inspired me over the years. One of my aunties, my mum's, one of her younger sisters, has been really, really inspiring and reminded me to be resilient and to be agile. I've been very fortunate at MadMex to work with a great business coach named Julie Spring, who's been extremely inspiring and really good at holding that mirror up and going, okay, well, if you want to be an empathetic leader and you want to be a resilient leader, then how is that coming across and how are you going to lead by example? Definitely Clovis Young, who's our current founder and CEO, and getting into an entrepreneur's mind has been an amazing experience. And there's a lot of inspiration that I've drawn from that. And I think, particularly for the CEO role, there's a businessman by the name of Roger Eden. And Roger used to be the CEO of Yum Brands once upon a time. And how he led as a CEO. And I remember him coming around restaurant visits and really motivating us and encouraging us. I guess that was a prime example of the leader I wanted to be one day. And I guess here I am, and hopefully I'm, filling Roger's shoes and making them my own.
Oh, look, amazing, amazing. And I think it's so special to actually be able to see leaders through your journey that you you really love the characteristics and resonate with you, and then kind of bring them all together and create it into your own, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that I learned over the years is there's such different styles of leadership. And once upon a time, I had my vision of what a leader might look like, and Roger may have been that. Though as I went through my career journey, there are lots of different leadership styles that you could also learn from. And speaking about agility before, where you then need to play those different hats pending where the business is at or your teams are at. So it's really great to have encountered and had the experience working with so many different leaders.
Yeah, love it. Franchising is all about partnerships. It's all about, everyone needs to win together. To be successful as a franchisee, what do you see as the most important skills that someone needs to have when they walk in the door, and then as they grow? What are these skills that they need to be able to really be successful?
That is a really easy one to answer. The most successful franchisees I've worked with over the year have this own it attitude around their personality. They understand that the franchisor is going to give them the systems, the tools, and the support, but they are the business owner. They own it. So if the results aren't great, they look to do something about it. If they're unhappy with something, they look to do something about it. They don't just rely on opening the doors and the franchisor bringing customers to them. A really successful franchisee has this skill of ownership and realizing that actually the results are my results. And if I'm not happy with something the franchisor is doing, then I can speak up and I can really be a part of this brand. But that is one skill. I think the good thing about franchising is franchisors come with the systems, the tools, and the support to be able to help franchisees. We can train them on how to run a good business. But if the franchisee doesn't bring that own it behavior, then no matter how good the systems or tools are, the business isn't going to be successful.
Thank you so much. I love that response. It's at the crux of franchising, isn't it? It's so many people enter franchising for different reasons, and if you don't own it, it's generally not going to end that well. So
Absolutely. And as the franchisor, that's our frustration sometimes. You might sit with a franchisee that's pointing the finger and blaming everybody else. And you have that conversation where you go, hey, let's look at your Google reviews. Let's look at your results. Let's talk about what you are doing, because we know what the business has done, but let's talk about what you are doing. And until they start to look within and realize, actually, this is my business, they're really going to have some trouble in achieving success.
yeah, really, really interesting. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for your insights. And yeah, really, really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure, Jenny. Thank you for inviting me.